Thank you very much, Dash. I am Clayton Captain Flowers Reigns, joined once again by Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kensler, and we are ready to kick things off here on day number 2 with
Hell
Liquid
yeah!
versus the Golden Guardians.
Hell yeah!
We lost an hour today, but we haven't lost any energy in the process. Hopefully we start this one off with a barn burner.
Now, everybody was looking at yesterday. Team Liquid versus Cloud9, top of the table. Who's going to be number 1? But we had Coach Gennaro on the dive, the coach of Golden Guardians, and he said that he had specific strategies because he saw the weaknesses in each of the top teams in the North American LCS. So I want to see him exploit those weaknesses here today in Champion Select in this game. Captain Flowers.
Strategies don't mean nothing if you can't make them work when everything's on the line. Let's see if the Golden Guardians can manage to bring things up to a break-even record, give Team Liquid their second loss of the split here, or if Liquid's just going to continue rolling forward with those victories. Looking at the bans here, it's Galio and Alistar banned out by the Golden Guardians as Team Liquid starts to target the bottom lane, getting rid of the Thresh and the Draven.
Yeah, definitely, and Ole got first blood with a very nice death sentence from Ole, setting him up early on in their game yesterday. That led to the Golden Guardians victory. So they're definitely focusing on that bottom lane because Team Liquid always rely on Doublelift and Core JJ to be their win condition.
Golden Guardians going to remove an AD carry of their own from the pool. The Lucian will be kept out of the hands of Doublelift this time around.
All right, classic man against Doublelift.
Yeah?
Has played Lucian for many years. We'll see what they round it out with. It's going to be more bottom lane focus. I feel like this is the most bottom lane focused pick and ban phase I've seen in such a long time, with all the crazy powerful solo laners and flex picks that are floating around. Five out of these 6 bans are all bottom lane bans. The Rise is the only solo laner that gets taken out here, targeting Froggen. And there you go. They followed it up with yet another bottom lane focus pick. The Braum for Ole. Very strong champion as far as denying enemy skill shots. You can protect minion waves with it at turrets as well, even for pushing if you put up the Unbreakable. Plus can have a very strong laning phase if you pair it with even melee bottom laners. Definitely has played a lot more non-traditional bottom laners than some of the other marksmen in the league like Doublelift.
Well, talking about marksman, talking about Doublelift, we will see him on the Ezreal here this time around. Seen plenty of this champion so far in this split of the LCS. You can see right there on your screen the stats. Don't lie, Kobe. 86% presence with a 61% win rate. Turns out building 2 tiers is incredibly powerful. And it looks like we're also going to see them pick up the Tahm Kench there, a super safe lane here for TL.
Yeah, specifically for Team Liquid, the super safe bottom lane, you know, they don't care about if they get ganked. They've got Arcane Shift and Devour to keep them safe. Doublelift has also played Ezreal over and over here, hitting almost all of his skill shots in lane phase, so they're able to get a decent amount of pressure even in lane phase with this comparatively low power laning duo. And it has really worked out for them because Team Liquid very confident in the mid game, and they just want to kind of get through the lane phase. But as we expected, the Braum is followed up with a possible all-in champion. Tristana has very good burst damage to follow up if a Braum hits a Q, or you can even go for the flash plays, then rocket jump on their heads for a lot of burst damage. If you coordinate it with your jungler, that can be very potent. And we've seen Tahm Kenches be killed before early on in the game.
Not only is the Tristana good at trading and having those powerful patterns in the lane, she's going to scale very well as she goes into the late game herself to be able to keep up with what that Ezreal will be doing. As they'll also lock in the Jarvan on the side of the Golden Guardians. A flex pick itself can go top, can go into the jungle, as Team Liquid goes for the LeBlanc there for Jensen.
Yeah, interesting takeaway here. Froggen has played a couple of games on the LeBlanc very recently here for the Golden Guardians, so it's a denial pick as well. And Jensen kind of throwing down the gauntlet here against another one of the very strong import mid laners. Mentioning the Tristana as well, you know, following up on your point there, another big reason why she's come back into the meta so strong is the turret destruction. You know, her explosive charge is very good at taking down turret plates. If you get a jungle gank, you know, if you get any sort of tempo lead on the enemy duo and some alone time with the turret, you can really make that worth money. It's very hard to do against a Tahm Kench Ezreal though, because Ezreal almost always runs teleports, and Tahm Kench, once he's 6 as well, the Abyssal Voyage gets them right back to lane.
All right, second part of the band. Both teams are looking towards solo lanes, but it's different lane focuses from each side. Golden Guardians looking at the top side, keeping some split pushers out of the hands of Impact with the Yorick and the Jace, while Team Liquid is targeting that mid lane, looking at Froggen's pool, removing the Lissandra, and the Corki that we saw an incredible pop-off game yesterday from Crown of Optic Gaming. Might be thinking they don't want to deal with that in the hands of somebody who's been known to pop off himself, like Froggen, as Team Liquid will now pick up the Kinnan.
Yeah, one of the classic matchups there, Corki taking a barrier into LeBlanc, and you basically just fight as soon as LeBlanc comes in for the trading pattern. And it's kind of a test of, it's like a chicken test where...
Yeah, first guy to swerve loses.
Yeah, exactly. You just try and deal your damage back because it is easy to hit your Q from Corki onto a LeBlanc that's trying to distortion trade into you. Meanwhile, though, here we go. A lot of early game focus from Team Liquid. This is maybe a deviation from what we're kind of used to. With this Kennen lock-in, they've got a very strong solo lane split pusher for Impact. This is not a team fight tank. You know, they have a LeBlanc, an assassin, that if she gets ahead can roam heavily from the mid lane. This is much more of an early game spread out the map type of composition for Team Liquid. But Golden Guardians will stick with what has worked for them in the past. They've locked in the Karthus, probably for Froggen here.
I would expect.
And we would expect the Jarvan now to be going to the jungle with possible Vladimir for Hanser into that Kennen.
Froggen has had some good games on Karthus so far this split. It's a kind of champion that really lends itself towards his playstyle and how teams play around him with letting him scale and be the carry. But at the same time, when you're something immobile like a Karthus going up against a LeBlanc and a Lee Sin, you've got to be wary of the ganks.
And Froggen is very famous for, back in Season 5 and 6, taking the side of the argument Karthus into LeBlanc, this specific matchup. Every other mid laner internationally at the time was on the side of LeBlanc will destroy this matchup. You get the kills on Karthus in lane phase, you snowball that lane. But Froggen has always, throughout his entire career, been so confident in the Karthus side of the matchup, outscaling, outplaying the early lane phase, using the long range damage to just farm up and even counterattack the LeBlanc.
Well, let's see if he can do it here, because there's no better way to say I told you so than with a direct 1v1 against one of the other top mid laners in the region. A guy that if you beat him with that matchup, it definitely makes a statement for itself. And not to mention, you're going up against a team that, as I said at the start of this, only has a single loss on their record so far. Team Liquid comfortably in first place now after taking down Cloud9 for the second time this split yesterday. And now Golden Guardians will seek to undo that and climb a little bit higher themselves. Plenty of team fight potential here on both sides. Both solo lanes for the side of Golden Guardians are going to scale very powerfully into the late game with those huge AP carries, having the Karthus damage, having the Vlad damage. It's a ton of AoE, and you've also got the Tristana there for further late game insurance.
Definitely true. And Team Liquid, some people have a little bit distorted view of this team because sometimes their early game, it looks a little bit slow because they're opting on the side of control, but they actually have had one of the fastest game times of all of the North American LCS. In large part is that they win most of their games.
I think one thing too is, even if they're not starting off with those explosive entrances into the game, we saw the stats.
Quickly.
Yeah, we saw the stats about the Fiesta Zone, how elite at 15 doesn't necessarily translate to a win here in North America. But once Liquid does find the win, even if it takes them a little while because they want to play things more slowly, it quickly does translate into that Nexus exploding. But level 1 now, we're going to see a couple blows maybe traded back and forth here as everybody skirmishes around the river.
Yeah, Team Liquid have generally kept themselves out of the Fiesta Zone, save for their Yorick game, which they would like us to never speak of again. Meanwhile, Impact getting some practice here with the Kennen, trying to harass Vladimir. Hanser's goal for this game is to out-sustain the harassment that's going to come through. Impact actually, with his Klepto, did get the red potion. This is something that was taken out of the game. You used to be able to buy it, and it's only in the game now through Kleptomancy. It actually goes a very long way into determining how this lane is going to go. Adds so much more harassment. He uses it here as he gets the extra AD from it and chucks down Hanser.
It's not nearly as strong as the original red potion was, but it's still enough to give you that trade power. You can see the Sly Sack of Gold is in his inventory from that extended trade in the top side, and that is exactly the start Impact wants.
Yeah, Impact is rolling all sixes with these dice here, and the RNG on the top side of the map. Very happy to go aggressive, make use of the possibility of getting some good draws on his Kleptomancy.
And remember, Vlad's very weak early on in the game. The cooldowns are super high. His bottom side could be a level 2 gank coming out from Contracts, but instead, nope. He'll walk back, go for the Scuttle Crab. Doesn't think he's going to have the chance to really make anything happen here. Smithy decides to go in, recognizes Contracts had already used the EQ combo onto the Crab, but Contracts will have those cooldowns back up here in just a moment.
Now, bottom lane push determines who gets this Scuttle Crab. Whose bottom lane can push up the minion waves and get it first? Tristana.
Contracts onto Xmithy, able to find that combo there. Auto attack after auto attack.
What?
Contracts looks to go after this one. He needs a little bit more damage. Gonna get the Dragon Strike. He goes in! And first blood over to Contracts. Core JJ will look to stop him here. The Winter's Bite comes through for Ole. He needs to block the tongue, but he won't do it. Core JJ, how many licks to the center of a Contracts pop? It's one.
Core JJ comes up from the lane, and he's able to pull this game back under control for Team Liquid, but Contracts, very nice move to get that first blood money, cashing in on the kill on Xmithy under the tower. They do trade flashes for it. The only drawback here for Golden Guardians is that their first blood was unassisted, so you don't get that extra bonus money. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Jensen goes in on Froggen, and Xmithy's here as well.
Jensen, lower health right now, but Froggen having to get himself out of there with the flash. Stays within range in case Xmithy gets a little greedy there for the Resonating Strike.
Yeah.
Contracts was nearby to punish. Remember, Xmithy and Contracts both know flashes here in the jungle.
Level 2 junglers back at it again. I like the action early on here for both of these guys. Contracts not backing down either. He comes out onto the map after diving the tower for first blood. He hasn't cleared a camp yet. Still looking for more action. Here's another replay of he sees the Q from Xmithy onto the Scuttle Crab. He smites it, takes it away, and then immediately EQs in for the range. Contracts is able to get the flash for the extra slow on his red buff, and that being applied makes it easy for him to secure this kill. But Core JJ had early roam up through the lane, and because of his flash there, he's able to get into position. Then Contracts trying to walk around the little wall there. Ole does not hug the wall for him, so Ole not able to block that. And little bit of maybe miscommunication as far as the route out of the jungle to safety. We've seen quite a lot of that, actually. Yesterday there was a Braum not quite able to block around
the red buff. Yeah, when the Sejuani smacks it backwards and ends up accidentally losing that one away. But of course, it happens sometimes. Impact continue to push up here in the top side. Plenty of minions to farm up for Haunter. But again, Vladimir just trying to scale up, get towards level 7, get towards level 9, where you have the level 4-5 transfusion. The cooldown gets itself lower. The champion will naturally try to build Kindle Gem, Fiendish Codex. Also having the Transcendence and the Cosmic Insight in Runes means that he'll quickly hit that 35, 40, 45 CDR mark and really start sustaining through the damage that Kennon's going to be dealing at.
Yeah, cooldown reduction is paramount when playing Vladimir. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Tristana and Braum pushing up the lane once again. Double F trying to thread the needle here, looking for those Kleptomancy procs for himself as well. Nice little dodge there by Deathly to make sure that doesn't hit. And we're back at it. Xmithy's level 3, Contracts level 4, they're going in!
Xmithy jumps over the wall as Contracts is coming around a little bit later to the fight. In he goes! And Contracts smacks him down for the second time.
So important here. Jungler proximity when playing a matchup like this. LeBlanc relies on getting the early snowball kills like we talked about in Champ Select for this matchup to then be able to affect the rest of the map. But Froggen proving his point here that as long as you communicate with your jungler and you have help, the Karthus can and will outscale. He's already got one charge on his Dark Seal. He has a large CS lead that he's been able to farm up here. And this is going to be a big determining factor in how the late game goes. Now we had a sneaky move there from Lee Sin. Xmithy does get in first and he's going to join, but watch Froggen moving around these minions, not letting either Lee Sin or LeBlanc thread their skill shots. The chain and the Q both require a clean path to the Karthus to be able to pull off that kill. Froggen immediately walks into the minion wave. That's an advantage of pushing it, and it buys time for Contracts to get there. Jarvan comes in, and they secure the kill.
Look at the difference between Contracts and Xmithy right now. Level 3 to level 5. Contracts not only has 2 kills, he's got 15 CS over his opponent.
Yep, that is the big difference in successful early aggressive plays or failures. Now, Contracts also been able to clear out all of his jungle, and he's heading over to the red buff here while Xmithy picks up the Scuttle Crab with a little bit of help from poor JJ.
And we're seeing more of a trend of Jarvan builds these days go for the Cinder Hulk as opposed to the Warrior that gives you more powerful ganks early on. The Cinder Hulk scaling better as a tank as you continue on into the game. And considering Contracts is the main front line, the main initiation side of Golden Guardians, I like the choice here. You don't exactly have a tank in your top side with the Vladimir to take care of that. Braum won't be able to initiate the fights nearly as easily, so I like the choice here coming out from Contracts, using that early lead to make sure that Golden Guardians have that big wall to start fights off.
Yeah, Contracts has definitely been a controversial point for this team. A lot of people will always point to the mistakes in the early game when he plays super aggressively, but when it works out, it can do so much, and it can even win you a game against the #1 team in the league if you've set up something like this Karthus for Froggen to play in the late game. This is looking extremely good for the Golden Guardians, and I would harken back to what we touched on in Champ Select with Inero on the dive, talking about knowing some of the weaknesses that he wants to try and exploit against the top teams in the North American LCS, and just wanting the chance to do so. Here, having Contracts, one of these junglers that's very willing to make a super aggressive path early, make consecutive ganks without farming early on, and having that work out, definitely is setting them up for possible success.
Let's see Impact getting a good trade there onto Hanser, but he trades at exactly the time when the Empowered Transfusion was up, so Hanser's able to do a pretty good job equalizing that one. Contracts makes his way towards this top side now. His ganks so far have paid off. He's made things happen. Goes for the flash to the EQ, but he's not going to get the knock-up, and that means the gank will not get the kill. They still force the flash out of the Team Liquid top laner, though. Contracts trading his flash for that one.
Yeah, Contracts uses a lot of his cooldowns there, so not getting close enough first to be able to hit the EQ. In the end, not a lot of follow-up damage, even though they do get him inside the Cataclysm for the trade, but a flash trade at this kind of breaking point does allow Hanser to push the minion wave into the turret. Impact have to back all the way off here, so he misses out on a cannon minion wave until the teleport finishes. Will he get the cannon minion? I don't think it completes in time.
Nope. I believe he got there in time for EXP. I didn't see the EXP bar tick, but very well could have happened. Also worth pointing out here, if you look at the itemization from Hanser, is going straight for the rush of the complete Proto Belt as opposed to going Kindle Gem plus Fiendish Codex for more early CDR stacking. So he will get that fully completed item online faster as Jensen gets a good trade here in the mid lane.
And I really like the Proto Belt combination for team fights. He has picked up the Phase Rush, as kind of talked about, for extra speed for team fighting, and it shows Golden Guardians' focus. They have a very clear path to how they want to win this game with their very heavy double AoE magic damage for late game team fights. And Contracts going with the tank build. Here we go, though. Xmithy on the bottom side kicks in. Ole.
Xmithy starting things off there with a good kick. However, he's going to eat a lot of damage of his own. Ole barely getting himself away as Jensen comes in, mop and bucket, trying to clean this one up. Instead, he's going to find Contracts, who stops him in his tracks and makes him get on out of the jungle back into the river.
Yep, Contracts is there in time to deny the possible follow-up for a dive onto Ole. This time it's Xmithy using all of his cooldowns here, the flash and the ultimate, trying to make a play and unsuccessfully getting a kill on the bottom side. Contracts actually wraps around. There's a control ward, and he's behind the duo.
Contracts may be able to make the play happen here. Core JJ going to be the target. Winter's Bite would need one more to make it happen. Stasis to keep Core JJ alive a little bit longer. The Cataclysm's ready to go, and that means money going into the pockets of Golden Guardians. Ole, the one who collects.
Once again, the Golden Guardians with a better gank path. Control ward goes down. Double Lift and Ole think they're safe after the calm after their first gank there from Xmithy, but it just opens up the possibility of Contracts coming through after he dealt with Froggen and chased off the dealt with Jensen and chased off the mid laner. This early game Captain Flowers is going extremely well for the Golden Guardians. And again, remember, they are tied for 4th place right now, kind of poised to move up above that clump and make their strong run towards playoffs and towards not only playoffs, but a very good seeding in playoffs at that.
And this is also a game where we're seeing so many of these plays come out. Like you said, we saw Contracts in the top side, blow everything, look to make the play happen. Bottom side, Xmithy, use everything to make the play happen. Golden Guardians also has that extra edge where if you get somebody down to 100 HP and it just barely fails, it's not actually a fail because of Froggen.
All right, let's see about Froggen right now, because it looks like Xmithy and Jensen want to go. He's able to dodge. He dodges the important skill shot.
Yeah, the rest of them don't matter.
If that chain doesn't land, nothing's going to come through, and he's not going to have to burn his flash. Plus, that being up has given him the confidence here on the Karthus, continually pushing out this wave. Again, he is up over 20 CS over this LeBlanc. Contracts comes this time.
Jensen still has the ability to dodge away from some of these here. Sidestepping past those Skittle Bombs. Contracts goes in, but eats some damage for his troubles. Now the chains come through, and that's the punish coming out for Team Liquid.
That is the backside. The flip side of one of these aggressive plays is punish for going under the turret there. As a very good use of the Abyssal Voyage, does get the kill. But look at the turret plates. Tristana right now, alone time with the turret because both members of the duo went up to the top side. That is down to 2 turret plates left. Definitely has been able to mine gold out of that turret in payment for the kill on the Contracts. Xmithy is also, though, going to start up this Ocean Drake, and it might be an objective on top.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate timing there for Contracts and Golden Guardians. He goes in and he not only dies, but he dies at a time where the opponents are not going to be looking for the objective. The Golden Guardians decide they're going to start the fight. It's a 2 versus 4 right now. It's going to be a 3 versus 4. Once Haunter makes his way into the fight, Ole already dead. The first one here, Xmithy taken down next. 1-for-1 trade as Froggen joins the fight to make sure nothing else happens poorly to the Guardians, and they'll secure Ocean Break 2.
With these double teleports used on the bottom side, it does mean that impact on the Kennen. In a similar situation to where Deftly got turret plates during the last kill, Impact will now be trying to mine the top side turret, so Team Liquid also trading back some gold for that commitment to the Ocean Drake. This is going to be double Ocean Drakes now stacked up for the Golden Guardians, though, providing them a lot of regeneration for this lane phase, which has really helped out all of their matchups. Especially, of course, the Karthus versus LeBlanc. Here we go, there's another look. The teleports come in. Ole and Deftly go all in before the teleports complete. So the damage from Xmithy and Jensen does get the early kill onto Ole, especially as Double Lift even lands his skill shots there. In the end, it is traded 1-for-1 with the commitment of the teleports and Contracts reviving.
Very well timed lay waste coming out from Froggen there as well. Hit Xmithy as soon as the stasis ended, also proccing the Dark Harvest, taking him down to 50 HP. Made sure they would secure that kill no matter what sort of tricks he might have had up his sleeve. As Golden Guardians again look to flex those muscles in the enemy jungle. Bottom side though, 2 versus 2. JJ and Doublelift having to respect Deftly and Ole. Remember, when you are the Ezreal, you're building the tier at the start, working on that Mana Moon like you can see in Doublelift's inventory. You don't get to rush the BF sort of items like Deftly is doing here on the Tristana, so really having to respect those auto attacks.
And I really like what the Golden Guardians are doing here. They're having Froggen take their own Raptor camp to increase his CS on this Karthus after he's able to quickly shove the wave. Then Contracts, instead of denying themselves a camp, he's going for the aggressive plays. He invades, he goes for the ganks, so it's not like they're losing any gold or time by Contracts not getting their own Raptor camp. They're just giving over to Froggen, and then he's being proactive elsewhere.
See if Golden Guardians want to make this dive happen down here. Contracts backs away from it. He remembers the last time he went underneath the enemy turret without everything being fully planned out and doesn't make the same mistake.
And he even shows restraint on that control ward. Doesn't stick around to finish it off because they lost vision of Jensen on the LeBlanc, and there was a possibility of that LeBlanc roaming down, so he walks away from that control ward. Xmithy during that time, though, since they had vision of the enemy jungler, does take up the Rift Herald.
Rift Herald secured for the side of Team Liquid, the first neutral objective they've managed to collect for themselves here this game. Hopefully they'll be able to translate that one into a turret up here in the top side. They're going to go ahead and drop it immediately, recognizing that the turret is within kill range already from a single charge. Haunter will do what he can to stop this. But Shelly charges in, should take it out rather effortlessly. And there you go, first turret gold over to Team Liquid.
Team Liquid does cash in the end here, and the gold's still extremely close. They've caught right back up to the Golden Guardians with that take on the objective. Haunter didn't finish off the eyeball. He went for the minions, as you saw on screen before. That allows it to get a very substantial charge off on the secondary turret there. So a little bit of maybe even laziness there, allowing a small chip damage on the turret. Might not mean anything in the end, but we shall see if they return for the rest of it.
Still call it a misplay overall, losing about 40% of turret HP when you didn't need to on that top lane tier 2. You can see when Froggen does get hit by everything coming out from Jensen's LeBlanc. He loses quite a lot of his health. And yeah, that one makes you sweat a little bit as Jensen now going to be in some trouble. Contract looking to make the play happen. Here goes for the dunk, not quite going to find it. However, the Requiem will not get the kill. 70 HP left for Jensen.
Pretty close, but not quite enough damage dealt there. Jensen was able to flash out and secure his safety. Froggen, though, strikes back pretty quickly there. Meanwhile, Abyssal Voyage comes in.
Oh, baby. Here they go. It's Double Lift and Core JJ once again trying to make the moves happen. As Core JJ is going to be interrupted. Xmithy coming in from behind, looking to make the plays happen, grabbing himself one, kicking back the other. And that is 2 for 0 over to Team Liquid.
Team Liquid collapse on mid lane. They get the extra kills here. Really big play. Once again, Core JJ's Tom Kench. The Abyssal Voyage surprise attack. Golden Guardians did not account for that, having just shoved Jensen back to base. During this time, once again, they do trade turrets, but that was a very big and necessary play for Team Liquid to try and open up the map here. They've now taken 2 of these outer turrets, and they can really start to make use of this mobility. Here's another look at the attempt at the all-in on Jensen. Very close with the Karthus ultimate. Does get the stack here, but not the kill. All right, Dark Harvest successfully harvested. I guess we'll look at it once again. The beginning, Ole does go for the knockup on the Core JJ. Xmithy is able to get in there. Really nice job by Xmithy, by the way. He's the one that basically secures this kill, saves the play by kicking and killing Froggen as well. Here we go, though. Jensen, gonna be fine.
Yeah, he's LeBlanc. Plenty of dashes to get himself out of that one. Contracts on this Jarvan. You can see in the inventory now has the Negatron Cloak and a Ruby Crystal. Going to be tankier against the LeBlanc and the Cannon here as well. As Golden Guardians looks maybe for an opportunity to go for something, but Team Liquid will disengage.
And Golden Guardians should be using their champion synergies here. They're so much stronger when grouped up. Meanwhile, Team Liquid want to try and pull apart the map. They have the extra mobility, surprise attacks. Here they go in the river. Golden Guardians as 5 are so strong, though. They're trying to chase Xmithy down.
Xmithy had already used the safeguard to get himself away. Now using it again to get back to Jensen. Definitely taken down to about half HP. Ignite going to be coming out there from Jensen to make sure he stays low. Froggen also at about 2/3. Team Liquid trying to keep Golden Guardians away. Mountain Drake is alive. Xmithy will be on that one now. Team Liquid having control of the southern part of the river means Xmithy's able to solo this one down while the rest of the team keeps Golden Guardians occupied. Drake down to half HP. Contracts behind the pit. Golden Guardians are a bit separated here, and they've got to be careful about that.
Keep your eyes on impact. The cannon
Here we go. Taunts are going in, looking to start things off. Hemo Plate comes down, but it's also going to be slicing Maelstrom into the back lines of the Golden Guardians. Two-shot barrage over the wall. Impact looking to find even more. Going to be taken down by Froggen, who gets himself away, but Jensen's still looking to find the damage. He finds the assassination, and the Mystic shot over the wall will find another. A double kill over to Jensen as the Requiem is called down. Contracts looks to find the damage, and the shutdown over for Froggen. It's Jensen still alive. It's Core JJ still alive, but only Contract stands beside of Golden Guardians.
Only 3 members left alive after that Requiem. Froggen continues to stack up his Dark Harvest. Yes, Team Liquid do get the win in the team fight with the extra kill, but you really have to worry if that's how the fight is going now, what it's going to look like in the late game. This Karthus damage is undeniable. As long as Froggen does not channel his ultimate while he's still alive, he will be able to get that guaranteed damage. Hanser had a very big start on the Vladimir. Big AoE, got 3 of them. Impact answered with their own big AoE magic damage there, going in with the Cannon ultimate. And Team Liquid do get the kill and then pull back out. Then they go for the extra 2 kills here. Nice job by Jensen picking those up, but once Froggen is dead, the Requiem comes down. That's going to finish off Xmithy and Double Lift in the mid lane at the same time, plus allowing Contracts to stay alive at the end, but they're back in the Drake.
Oh, we're back in the fight. Mountain Drake at half HP. Xmithy going in, looking to start the fight here onto Ole. Contracts with the EQ over the wall to get himself out. Team Liquid's collapse gives them priority over the pit right now. Control board already down means Xmithy is able to secure that one for Team Liquid.
And Team Liquid's confidence in going for that Drake are twofold. 1, Hanser is on the top side of the map, but 2, the drawback of Froggen on Karthus is that the Requiem has a very long cooldown early on in the game. Now he's at least got up to level 2 and has a little bit of cooldown reduction.
It's still 2.5 minutes.
But it's still 2.5 minutes.
It's a long
they
time.
know that they have this window after the last big team fight to go for an objective. So it's good that they do take that opportunity. In the meantime, though, Hunter was very happy to get that turret on the top side, so remaining very competitive.
I mean, you're talking about competitive. We've got 600 gold separating these two teams 21 minutes in. It's a very close battle so far. And
honestly, if Team Liquid don't play the map extremely well, making use of their Abyssal Voyage to pick people off, LeBlanc burst damage surprising people from the Fog of War with control wards, then I have a lot of faith in the Golden Guardians scaling here. Vladimir, Karthus, with a Jarvan to start off the team fight with Cataclysm, keeping people around for the AoE, is a massive late game team fight that you have to be careful when dealing with. But it's about how can you play the map to set that up.
And I'm also looking at the fights that could come out from the side of Team Liquid. And when you look at Lee Sin as you move forward into the game, the champion becomes more and more about, okay, can you get the miracle kick that makes the team fight happen? But when you look at the targets he could be kicking in this game, Froggen wants to be in the middle of everyone. That's not who you want to kick. Vladimir's going to press W and go, haha, okay, and get himself right back out of the trouble. The only guy you can really kick is Deftly, and that's a hard task.
I think, yeah, the goal has to be picking isolated targets. It's getting already only at 22.5 minutes, a little bit difficult for them to deal with the grouped up Golden Guardians. That's why you can see Team Liquid are sticking to their strategy that they've drafted for. They have LeBlanc on the top side split pushing, Kennen on the bottom side split pushing, and the very safe Ezreal, Lee Sin, Tahm Kench in mid lane, trying to keep the pressure in 2 points at once at least. Kennen on the bottom side is having trouble trying to push the Vladimir back now that Haunter has also begun scaling here with the Vladimir, and that is going to be hard to get 3 points, but 2 is generally enough to work with. Xmithie does head down to the bottom side.
Xmithie looking to help Impact out down here. Haunter should get the Empower Transfusion here in just a moment. Throws down the Hemo Plague, gets it onto both. Rather, only on the Impact, just barely missing out on Xmithie there, keeps himself alive.
Yeah, Haunter with the Mercury Treads tenacity, allowing him to get out of that stun tiny bit quicker and activate the W before Xmithie was able to get his kickoff and chain that crowd control, allows him to live. Team Liquid still get the turret, though.
Still a turret over to Team Liquid means the third and final piece of that outer chain is broken, and that means more map control for the side of TL to continue to try to play this split push game. Looking at the PowerPoint check-in here for the AD carries, you've got 2 completed crit items for the Tristana. 3 is usually that sweet spot. And if you look at Doublelift, he's stacking the second tier, has the first one already fully completed, with about another 425 mana to go on that second one. They should both hit that big power spike they're looking for around the same time.
Such a different story, you know, from most Team Liquid games, right? Everyone's so used to them being the ones with Doublelift and Jensen on scaling DPS team fighters, them being the ones with Impact on a frontline tank. That is not the case this time around. Roles have been reversed a little bit in the champions that they have drafted, and now it's up to see if Team Liquid can end out a game, if they can actually even win a game here, going for more split strategy.
I love the fact that because both teams have big AP cannons in both solo lanes, there's 4 Banshees Veils in this game as everyone's hitting their 2-item power spikes. Everyone's seriously itemizing and respecting opponents to get those shields up, make it so a stray True Shot Barrage or Karthus ulti out of nowhere doesn't take off half your health. But that's what I like to see, adaptation. Cookie cutters are for Christmas with Grandma. Adapt your builds, make sure you're doing everything specifically to the situation of the game you are in right now. As Xmithie on that Guardian Angel Lee Sin has the ability to make plays of his own. We already talked about how that will be more and more difficult as the game progresses. Baron is live 25 minutes into the game. You can see that area currently controlled by Team Liquid, as the back will be completed just in time and the ward over the wall will not be placed down quick enough to stop that one from going off. Next Drake is Ocean. Third one this game will be spawning here in 20 seconds.
Yeah, you can see once again, Team Liquid trying to gain pressure by pushing up all 3 lanes and then moving over to get vision around Baron. But Golden Guardians have been holding strong. Here they go.
And looking to make something happen here. As Xmithie is going to be the target at the start. Core JJ gobbles him up, spits him right back out of the Cataclysm, but now Core's going to be forced to flash into that one here himself. Impact coming in from the side, looking to make the flank. Slicing Maelstrom could come in, doesn't want to go for it just yet. Froggen trying to get himself and the rest of his team away from this one. Wants to just use the Defile to zone Jensen away so he can't go in.
So
contracts.
Yeah, people's first thought when seeing Impact pull off of that might be a little bit skeptical because he did have flash, but you have to worry about someone knocking your Banshee's Veil off and a Tristana ultimate being one of the biggest counters to Kennen engage in the game. That thing knocking you away makes you feel very, very silly about using your flash to go for one of those big engages. It can be really difficult to work around, but as you said, the Banshee's Veils are going to be playing a very big part in this game. People knocking those off with skill shots beforehand will determine whether these big AP carries get their ultimates off. You know, is Tristana going to get an easy disengage by using that ultimate to knock the Kennen back? Or is Impact going to find the flank with his Banshee's Veil on and secure the stuns?
And in that last fight, because Contracts was the guy who ended up having to go home, only 20% HP left, it meant free Drake going to the side of Team Liquid. So that's the last Ocean we'll see this game. One more Elemental Drake should spawn before the Elder shows up. That will be Infernal. But right now, both sides have plenty of resources available. Ultimates ready to go. Summoner spells ready to go. Smithy taking a little bit of damage there, but Golden Guardians recognizes they don't want to start things off on a target that has GA.
And actually right now, Golden Guardians are the ones that are split. They have Karthus as well as Vladimir in the side lanes. And Team Liquid, as you can see with the vision toggle here, very, very dark map. They're
Double
converging onto double lift.
Nah, he gets himself out. It's Ezreal, man. Built-in flash on a 6-second cooldown or so. Very difficult to get on top of that guy. Definitely is going to land a couple of auto attacks, though. Double Lift going to be taken down to about half HP. Haunter versus Impact here off the side. Tier 1 turret going to be taken very low. Xmithy also zoned away to the side of the map here as Ole nearly killed off. Into the back goes Xmithy, looking to make that one happen. There goes Impact getting himself knocked out as Haunter has to retreat now. Team Liquid will surely burn Contracts out of this when there's already 2 dead on the side of Golden Guardians, about to be 3. If they can take out the jungler, that could be huge for making a Baron play. Jensen will surely seal the deal, goes on a killing spree with that one. 5-0 on this LeBlanc.
Critical error, it seems to me, from the Golden Guardians. Going aggressive at that turret, they just used so many of their abilities to take down the turret. A lot of their damage jumped into there. Plus, they didn't have Froggen with them with the Karthus, and he just ulted from afar. Now it is Team Liquid 5 members strong on Baron.
This could be absolutely massive for the side of Team Liquid. All too often in League of Legends, Kobe, you see a close game become not so close anymore when Baron gets taken. Froggen will surely fall. Shutdown credit over to Jensen. It's Double Lift grabbing the kill onto Haunter. Team Liquid still able to lead 2 in the pit to secure the objective. And I think this close game just became a lot more Liquid favored.
Definitely want to take another look at this engagement from the Golden Guardians. A critical point in the game, and they expend a lot going under this turret. All right, so they just had the explosive charge from Deftly on this turret. Ole's extremely low beforehand. They go for the engage onto Double Lift. That's what gives them the confidence to go for it. Core JJ, though, devours him up at the last second. Plus, he had a lifeline proc there, so Double Lift doesn't go down. They lose everybody in the engage. Froggen was not there at the beginning. We keep on stating how strong this team is when they're grouped up as 5, but diving the turret there with 4 into all of Team Liquid, you don't get to make critical errors versus the #1 team in the league and go away unpunished. Team Liquid quickly will reap the rewards there. And Baron buff completely plays into their strategy now. They can split up, Baron buff all these lanes, use the LeBlanc, use the Tahm Kench, take down all these remaining outer turrets.
That LeBlanc is 6-0, by the way. Jensen currently sitting on 9 out of 14 kill participation. No deaths yet. Truly a threat here in the side lane. And this is what we were talking about earlier with Team Liquid. Yeah, they might not have the fastest starts. They might not need to snowball everything from minute 4. But once they get a lead, it quickly tightens into a victory. They close that gap onto the Nexus very quickly, and I want to see if they can pull that off now, because that definitely seemed like the kind of fight, the kind of victory afterwards in taking the Baron that defines the story of a game. That's usually one thing I look for whenever I watch any game, is I say, all right, where did everything turn? Where did the victory
Well, that one was clear.
Yeah, that one's pretty clear. This is a great example to say, all right, there's a very obvious moment in this game where we went from even ground to Team Liquid is in easy control.
And I would even say that Golden Guardians had the high ground. I would give advantage to them pre-tower dive there, 4v5. But now, Team Liquid, very happy. The split push team's best tool is the Baron buff, and they're making good use of it here. Top and mid turrets down to 50%.
Remember how effective Ezreal is at taking down turrets as well after the changes to the W. You talk about Tristana being a turret killer. Ezreal's one in his own right here these days. Mid lane tier 3, down to 1/3 HP. Cannon minions plunking away at that bottom turret. But it looks like Froggen will be able to hold the line there for now. Doublelift and CoreJJ continuing to push here mid. Contract's down to half HP, needs to go back and heal himself up in case the fight does happen. You can see Xmithy in the Drake pit, clearing that one out, picking up the Infernal here for the side of TL, putting even more damage in the pockets of Impact, of Jensen, of Doublelift, and making the threat of Team Liquid in the late game that much more frightening.
They get a bunch of turrets for their troubles. They get a Infernal Drake on the end to help out a little bit with the scaling difference. Team Liquid very happy about the way the last 4 minutes of this game have gone. On the side of Golden Guardians, though, it's gotten more interesting. With that big dive, they've been put further behind, and their focus on defending inhibitor turrets and continuing to try and farm these giant AoE AP team fighters has really been increased.
You look at Froggen, he's got the Void Staff. Banshee's got a lot of AP he's had for a while here too. Needlessly Lord Rod in inventory, going for even more AP, and he's going to need to do a lot of damage in these fights to hold off against a Liquid that is looking stronger than ever. Jensen getting himself away from contracts.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people point to the ultimate. They're like, you know what? Karthus is so great. You don't even have to be in the team fight. You can add all this damage with your ultimate. However, that is not how you want to play this champion. You want him there at the team fight so that you can get down your lay waste, you can get down the defile and the slow. It's a huge part of allowing your teammates to successfully navigate the team fight. And then, once you die as close as you can to the rest of the team, you can channel your ult for free. And that turns around even possible losing team fights. You don't want to do it like they had last time and miss out on all of the lay waste and defile damage.
Locking up the Iron Solari just picked up for CoreJJ as well. Huge item for just giving Karthus the nope button and protecting everybody on your side from that Requiem damage. Looking at the itemization for the side of Golden Guardians, not just Froggen, you can see another BF sword now in the inventory after those 3 crit items have already come online for Deathly. Topside, Haunster's got himself some headwear there on the Vladimir, so plenty of AP coming through for him as well. But the question is, will it be enough? Team Liquid's gold lead now commands itself at greater than 7,000. They've got a Drake lead as well. Elder will definitely be an element that Golden Guardians do not want to give up here once it spawns.
Definitely going to be a very tense lead up here to the Elder Dragon spawn, to the Baron spawn. 1 minute away from Baron, and Team Liquid already moving in preparation.
Now, the one thing that I do want to say is a silver lining here for the Dark Cloud that has been the last 5 minutes of gameplay for Golden Guardians. They didn't lose any inhibitors themselves during the Baron push. Yes, they lost the inhibitor turret in the bottom lane, but considering there is no extra pressure on their base due to super minions, they can still contest the Baron in rather fair circumstances. Ole jumping forward here, looking to make the Winter's Bite play go down. Xmithy coming up from behind, looking to find the pincer attack here onto the Golden Guardians. Nice unbreakable there from Ole to stop the True Shot barrage, jumping himself back now to stay with the rest of the team. You're going to see Jensen probably coming in from the side here to try to do something. It's Impact who tries to make the flank here with a Slicing Maelstrom. Haunter going to be following up behind to make sure it's not a 5 versus 4. Wants to go in and see if maybe there's something to be found. Definitely jump forward, eats a lot of damage coming out from the Mystic Shot. Definitely has to try to get himself back. He's still going to be burned down by the Ignite, and Jensen is unstoppable. Haunter tries to get away from this one. The Sanguine Pool will keep him alive for now. Flashes over the red buff wall to stay safe, but considering their AD carry is down, Golden Guardians still do not want to take this fight. CoreJJ continues marching forward, looking to see if maybe he can find somebody with a tongue yet again. Contracts gets out with the EQ combo. Froggen still plenty of resources, still has the ultimate ready to go. Wants to see if maybe he can take somebody out, but remember, Team Liquid is still strong. They've got shield mechanics, they've got stasis, they've got Maws. There's a lot ready to go.
Xmithy's have already been doing Baron for the last couple of seconds here while Team Liquid were chasing those kills. As the jungler are pinging, hey, objective focus, guys. Baron is open. Contracts now could go for the smite, though. He's running over to doesn't help.
Not gonna be there in time, and Contracts now finds himself caught between a rock and a hard place and an Ezreal that has pretty much 5.5 items. Not where you want to be, my friend. Mystic Shots coming in, LeBlanc damage going through. Ole's also now going to be caught. It's 1 dead on the side of Golden Guardians, could be 2. Ole pops the flash to try to get himself out of trouble here on this one, and he will survive. But considering that Summoner Spell blown for nothing, it's Xmithy knocking him right back into the rest of the team, and with 2 dead on the side of Golden Guardians, Kobe, I can't imagine the base not sustaining some structural damage here.
Team Liquid have the Nexus in their eyes. Impact goes back to Baron up, the Baron buff up the minions, but they've got one here. A ranged minion is all they need. Take down this turret, take down this inhibitor, and they're looking to end it.
Marching right towards that Nexus, taking a pit stop down here in bottom lane to attack that exposed inhibitor they got on the last Baron push, as Deathly once again getting familiar with what low health looks like. 20% HP on the Tristana means back to the fountain he goes. As Team Liquid will continue pushing towards the Nexus, they leave the inhibitor alive at 40 HP, unlucky.
How considerate of them.
Okay, there we go. Impact's not exactly going to be Mr. Polite here anymore. Froggen losing about half HP to the WQ combo of the Ezreal as Team Liquid falls back to regroup. Remember, Elder is now live.
Yeah, Bishop Lords just get an early start on the damage here. Of course, JJ takes Smithy into the pit, and they've started up the Dragon. This is Golden Guardian's maybe last attempt at trying to save this game.
You can't give this one away. You've got to make some sort of a fight happen here. Haunts are going to be taken very low, but Jensen's already gone, like Deathly's already gone, Doublelift's already on a killing spree, and Golden Guardians lost the fight before it ever started. Jensen gets himself back over the wall with some quick feet, and Ole and Froggen head for the hills. Who needs Elder when the base is wide open like this? Doublelift shifts himself forward. He knows they've got the game on lock now. Ole, the last man standing, will fall. And Team Liquid once again shows that you can hang even with them. But the best team in North America is the best team for a reason. And they will take down the Golden Guardians.
You can't make a mistake like that versus Team Liquid and expect to come back in the game. Doublelift ends it with the classic teleport flank on Ezreal to pick up the extra kills, and Team Liquid finish this one out.
And when you go back and watch the VOD of that one, win your Golden Guardians, you're going to look at that play underneath the mid lane tier 1 turret. That really was the turning point. That was what decided this was no longer a close game, and it was just how long will it take for Liquid to close this one out.
They were definitely close, but that does not count in League of Legends.
That being said, Team Liquid continues their win streak, still only having that one loss on the record, still looking like an incredibly frightening team. Jensen, no deaths this entire game, has that nice 1,000 gold bounty on his head by the end. Nobody ever cashes in.
I would also say, regardless of the mistake there from Golden Guardians, this is a team that is coming off of last year, back-to-back 10th place in both leagues. What a turnaround for this team. They made so many changes in the offseason, players and staff, and they definitely look like one of the rising stars. Expect to see them in playoffs.
Yeah, they were having a rough start to even this split, but they've turned things around really well. You can tell that things are starting to come together for this team. They did hang even with Liquid for a while, and if they can prevent mistakes like that tier 1 yet again, we might be able to see them pull off some amazing things. But for more on the victory that Liquid claimed today, Avli is standing by with their jungler for an interview.
Thanks, Flowers. Smithy, congratulations on the win and the 2-0 weekend for Team Liquid. But that game against Golden Guardians was looking a little close. What is it about that team that made the game so close today?
I think the Golden Guards in general, they just have a really good early game and like just a plan in general for early. And yeah, I think they just played pretty much like personally me in general. And yeah, thankfully my team was able to pull it out.
So I was talking with Doublelift yesterday, and he said that for the team, since you guys have been constantly winning, you learn a lot more from losses. Now, you personally, in the early game, you were struggling a little bit, so I want to pick on you a little bit. Where do you think you could have done better personally, and maybe what can you learn from this game?
I think just better, like, in the moment, just decision-making in the early game that made us really far behind in that game. I think it was easily fixable, but I think it's just a lot of miscommunication from our part, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, thanks and congratulations again. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk. I got to pick on you a little bit.
Thank you very much, Avli. TL moving to 13-1 on the split. Again, still only dropping that singular loss to TSM. Golden Guardians, though, as Avli mentioned, started hot out the gate here with a couple early kills and some small advantages, but they could not convert it to a win. And again, I feel like we're in a situation where you're watching this game going, well, the TL win is eventual.
And this is really good because Contracts knows his lanes are all pushed up, Xmithy was low, and he knows he can take this fight. So Xmithy tries to live, and this is a play that you would want Ole to fully commit on with. Contracts has already done so. Either try to proc the Bromstone or try to make sure you block that tongue lash. Like, what are you doing? Your bro just made a huge move, and you're not going to back him up?
I mean, this is some of what I think you heard Smithy saying about getting outplayed. Contracts was able to kill him for going over aggressive on a Skull Crab that shouldn't have been his. And then the mid lane, the counter game came in very nicely to punish
Also
him
well
again.
played by Froggen there.
Yeah, very well played by Froggen. And then Team Liquid started to kind of answer things back and make it so that these were not just normal kills, but trading a couple times, like that Braum one.
Right, and I think Smithy actually faltered a lot in the early game, like he said. And time again, when Team Liquid looks weak, it's like Smithy that falls behind early. So I really like Golden Guardian's plan here, putting him behind early and picking that scaling comp. I actually thought the draft, and they played this game super well, minus that one mistake that we'll see later in this game.
Well, I mean, even this one a little bit. Like, the Tom Kench became a big problem this game here, not respecting, like, we pushed Jensen out, let's get pressure mid, but you need to respect the bot lane can collapse.
This was a huge deal. Like, they blow the Cataclysm on Nick Smithy. First of all, really strange call. And then you're going to commit to a fight later on with your mages. This would be an amazing time to have Cataclysm, but Golden Guardian says, okay, you know what? We can still take the fight. We're that strong. And I'm not sure where they got all that confidence, but they're not able to quite pull it out. You know you're going to have a fight. The Mountain Dragon's coming in. This would be a great time to have that. Contract was not there with the team. And it just looks like when Golden Guardians has to play as 5, things go wrong. When you separate them, it's like, well, this makes sense, but when you put them together, I don't know.
And to be fair, they are up against Team Liquid, who is hands down the best team fighting team in the league. And
Exactly.
so this is a fight that ends up 4 for 3 and very close, but against any other team in the league, you might have won even without the Cataclysm, but against Team Liquid, you need everything immaculate to win.
Right, just a little bit more crispness in each of those moments maybe would have turned the tables and allowed Golden Guardians to come away with the victory. But either way, Smithy credited them for being a very strong early game team and for coming into games with a very clear plan. Now it's about those next steps, right? Bridging the gap between early advantages and an eventual win. And Hi, you already called it out. There was one huge moment in the mid lane. The casters called it out too. A lot of people are going to be VOD reviewing on that specifically and saying, where did it all go wrong for the Golden Guardians? That first tier turret in the mid lane. Let's take a look at it right here.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, Ole makes a mistake of getting a little bit chunked out after Doublelift makes a similar one, and then they kind of get baited by the fact that Ole is sitting there eating shots, and it allows a flash in by Haunter. And right when they do that, they say, we got Doublelift low, we can finish him off. And so Deathly's gonna jump in right on top of him and put himself in a horrible flank position between a Lee Sin and a Kennen. And if that wasn't bad enough, at the same time, Karthus, not quite in the fight yet, he could spend this time running up and trying to get close to the fight, but instead, because they're so tunneled on killing Doublelift, he's gonna start channeling his Requiem with Tom Kench Devour still up. And so they go so hard for Doublelift, he gets devoured, protected through all this damage, and definitely gets insta-deleted.
And you know what could have made even more sense? Just auto the Tom Kench. He already has the Braum passive on. Proc the stun, forbid him from using the Devour, and maybe the Requiem hits. At least there's a little bit more synergy that way.
Right, and I think what I want to focus on for that isn't necessarily the mechanics, because when a player is going to go review that, they're going to be like, oh, I could have done this, I could have done this. I don't care about that. What I care about is your mentality of why you're doing that. You have a Karthus, Vladimir, Tristana. Is there any reason that you need to take that fight right there? And as another note, for anyone that plays solo queue and melee champions, if you're sieging a tower and you're a melee champion, don't hit the tower. You're always going to get chunked, especially if you're a Braum. Just generally, when you're sieging, melees don't hit the tower. Ranged champions hit the tower.
I mean, to High's point, though, like, let's say they don't go all in for Doublelift and they just chunk him out. Tristana's full health. You take the next mid turret.
You got the objective, right? You got what you wanted.
Yeah, you could even get the inner if you chunk them out with the Karth Assault and they can't defend it. And the fact that they tunneled so hard on winning the game right then actually hurt them.
All right, let's talk about our 13-1 Team Liquid and our now 6-8 Golden Guardians. Again, 6-8 sounds like a disastrous scoreline, but in reality, you're still tied, essentially, for 4th place in the league. How do we feel about this Golden Guardian squad and the work they've done over the last couple weeks? Granted, they did lose a game to our top team today.
Right. If I was Golden Guardians, I'd be pretty happy. First off, like the casters just said, they did have the last 2 splits where they ended last. I may or may not have a part of that, but, you know, they're looking really strong now, and despite this loss against Team Liquid, I think they're in full position to win that game had they not made that, you know, call to take that fight. So moving forward, just keep doing what you're doing.
Fun fact, first split they had 4 wins, second split they had 5 wins, this split they have 6 wins. We'll see if they can push that number higher. Hopefully it isn't just a 1 per split kind of deal, otherwise we're taking a while to get to that perfect run.
Undefeated in 10 years.
Exactly.
I don't do math.
All right, well, coming up, Echo Fox loads onto the Rift opposite FlyQuest. We'll see who comes out on top after this.